Okay. And so we'll start with the prayer. Hmm, Where did I put the prayer? Okay. Okay. Ratnama, you want to do the prayer?
Okay. Om. 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 Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Sri Saraswati Namaha. Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Samas समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि इदं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम् ॐ सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति 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 यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशमां यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः ज्ञातज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टा दक्षिणदुष्यपुः कर्तहेतुक्रियायस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः स्फुरन्ति सीकार यस्मात् आनन्दास्याम्बरेवन सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः दिवि भूमौ तथाकाशे बहिरन्तश्च मे विदुः यो विभात्यवभात्सात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः हरि ओम्
Okay. So we are in the page 75, the Utpatti Prakarana. We reviewed in the last class what we had actually studied in the previous month in June. Here we see the importance of the sadhana chatushtaya sampannata, the shama, dama, uparama, and all that, and the knowledge of the uh, Brahman in the form of Chidakasha. And then we saw the Chittakasha also. And the world as it is in the physical form. What do you call that? I forget the name. Chidakasha and the Bhutakasha. Okay. So the Chidakasha is where all the Chittakasha and the Bhutakasha are. The Chidakasha is nothing but that Brahman. The Chittakasha is the ether of the mind, and it is the one that's called by the various names that all the names we saw. And in the form of the story of a strange spirit, we saw how the world is what you call just a projection on the Brahman. And the bondage is because of our attachment to this projected mind. Mind created the world. And the liberation is depends upon the same mind which withdraws from the projection and directs itself to the Atman, the Chit. So, what is the Brahman? That is, omnipotence of the Brahman is described next in section 100. Ratnam, I want to read.
Okay. Section 100, the omnipotence of Brahman. Sri Vashishta continued, O Rama, just as waves arise out of the ocean, in the same way, this chitta, mind, has arisen out of Brahman, the absolute. In fact, mind is only an illusory modification of Brahman. Undiscovered Brahman is the basis of the entire world process. When Brahman is revealed or discovered, this world process disappears from one's view. Associated with the mind, Brahman causes all objects and living beings to manifest in this world. The Absolute is all powerful, his powers manifesting through the mind and enveloping this entire creation.
Want to
So,
comment?
yes, it is how Brahman is everything in this world or cosmos. Everything, it is the Brahman. But it is, mind is the one that has arisen out of that Brahman alone.
Yeah.
But
So you can see how the same subject that we discussed yesterday about the nature of Brahman is omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. He's all pervading, all powerful, and infinite knowledge. And it is because of that the total mind is projected, and we are all parts of the total mind. That's what you call Hiranyagarbha. So, so we'll continue on that. And Sarveshji,
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
It is Brahman who is the power of vibration in air, the power of inertia in objects, the power of fluidity in water, the power of luminosity in fire, and the power of vacuity in ether, and the power of existence in all that exists. O Rama, the soul that expresses itself in the awareness of I am is essentially Brahman, because there's nothing other than Brahman, the all-pervading reality. The incarnating soul, Jiva, and the mental process, Chitta, are mere appearances in Brahman. Even this world that abounds with the powers of Brahman is essentially Brahman, because there is no difference between Brahman and his powers.
Yes. Want to comment?
The one, like you said, the one we talked yesterday, same thing. The essence of the water is the fluidity, and the luminosity of the fire, and the power of vacuum is the ether, and all that's existing is Brahman only. And essentially, he is defining Brahman as the omnipotent, omniscient, and omnipresent. The jiva and the chitta are mere appearances in the Brahman.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see beautifully how, since everything is pervaded by Brahman, everything has come from Brahman, everything is nothing but Brahman. The effect is nothing but the cause in a name and form. Yesterday, I was watching a little YouTube video about the Kalahasti in Tamil Nadu, the temple. The temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva as Vayu Tattvam. So there are 5 temples in Tamil Nadu that each one represents the 5 elements. So that's exactly what is said here in the first paragraph, that Brahman is the power of the inertia in the objects, power of fluidity in water, the power of luminosity in fire, the power of vacuity in ether, and the vibration in the air. And so, as a total, is the pure existence. So, so if we continue to contemplate on it, okay, which can be done only if you are a full-time sadhaka, then you will be able to continue to turn your mind inwards towards Brahman and not towards the names and objects of the world. So the I am is essentially Brahman. So there's nothing other than me, the Brahman. When I say I am Brahman, it's not the body, mind, and the intellect. I'm referring to that pure, all-pervading Atman. Everything else is, including this BMI and everything that my wealth and family and everything is just an illusion or appearance on that Brahman. So if we have constantly thinking of that and remembering that, only then our mind becomes chinmaya. So, Shobnam, you want to continue?
Okay. Yes.
Raghuji, I'll do the next one, please.
Okay. Okay. And Sudhirji? Is Sudhirji here? No. Uma?
Yeah.
Shankar, you want to read Amma?
Yeah.
Next 3 paragraphs.
Karma, action, karta, actor, birth, death, existence, and all other expressions of the world process are nothing but Brahman. When ignorance is removed, the taintless nature of Brahman is realized. In Brahman, there is neither greed nor infatuation, neither craving nor attachment. When Brahman alone exists, how can meditations
Mentations.
meditations founded on duality exist? Just as a friend, when not accepted by the mind as a friend, become a stranger. Even so, the Supreme Self, enveloped by ignorance, has assumed the form of Jiva and Chitta.
Yeah. Want to comment?
Yet, like everything is Brahman.
Yeah.
Meera cheppandi.
The duality of the world, like I am the doer, I am doing the action, and I am acting on this object. Okay. I am the enjoyer, I am enjoying the object and the enjoyment. All these triputis are the world of duality or illusion. But all of them are nothing but expressions of that one Brahman alone. So, if we have that attitude, then we will say that everything is me, everything is Brahman. How can I have likes and dislikes? Everything is nothing but me alone. And so, if you continue to practice that, we will say our likes and dislikes become less and less and less as we spiritually mature. And our disgust for objects or our attachment to objects gradually get uh, dissolved. It's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen just by the reading, but by continuing to think about it and contemplate on it. And if that's all we are studying and contemplating and have satsang, naturally we have to gradually change. Just like a bad company makes you think bad things and do bad things, good company makes you think good things and act good. So the Supreme Self, enveloped by ignorance, assumed the forms of the Jiva. And the same Jiva, with knowledge, realizes that I am nothing but that Brahman. Okay, Shobana, are you ready?
Raghuji, I did not attend last week, so I'm having issue with the pages, Raghuji. So can you tell me?
In Utpatti Prakarana, somewhere in
Uh-huh.
the middle of the book, page 76.
Okay. Okay, give me 1 minute. Thank you. And
Page
we are doing
76, the
section
last
section.
paragraph. The self
Okay.
knows no bondage.
The self knows no bondage. The erroneous motion that I am bound is nothing but more imagination. Since bondage is imaginary, release is also imaginary and fictitious. Bondage and release are both sustained by the illusions of the mind. Sri Rama asked, O sage, you have explained that mind renders every real by its convictions. But then, how is it that bondage, which is sustained by the mind, is illusory? Sri Vashishta explained, O Rama, the realities of dream become illusory from the standpoint of the waking state. So too, the realities created by mental convictions are perceived as illusions, but the mind turns to the wakeful state of liberation. Even the aspiration for liberation is illusory. However, it has a greater degree of reality than the desires for the objects of the world. When higher forms of imagination remove the lower forms of imagination, when aspiration overpowers the distracted desires of the mind, one wakes up to discover the non-duality of the self.
Yeah.
I think I may have to read this paragraph again to totally understand the significance of every word that has been woven into a sentence here.
You want to read once more?
Yeah, beautifully it's described. Sage Vashishta explained, O Rama, the realities of a dream become illusory from the standpoint of the waking state. So too, the realities created by mental convictions are perceived as illusions when the mind turns to the vacant state of liberation. Even the aspiration for liberation is illusory. However, it has a greater degree of reality than the desires for the objects of the world. When higher forms of imagination remove the lower forms of imagination, when aspiration overpowers the distracted desires of the mind, one wakes up to discover the non-duality of the self. Very nicely explained, Raghuji, that how when you move from a dream state to a waking state, how the dreams becomes illusory. And similarly, when you are in the wakeful state of liberation, then the mental convictions that you have created, they become illusions. They become illusory for you.
Right.
And so very, one paragraph very clearly described.
Yeah. So, two ways that how you can wake up to that state of state of Brahman. How do you do that? Only when you have bad experiences in a dream, suddenly you wake up and say, "Oh, I'm glad it's a dream." The same way, when you have bad experiences in your life, look at them as they uh, conducive for the waking up, in the sense that, hey, what is this world? What is this all this suffering? What is this ups and downs of life? And when you start contemplating, then that contemplation becomes more and more in the form of sattva guna. So with the sattvic thoughts, that though the sattva, rajas and tamas are all a part of the maya, the sattvic thoughts lead to liberation, and rajasic and tamasic thoughts lead to the bondage to the world. And so the same maya can liberate, and the same maya can bind you. So So that Vasishtha Rishi beautifully explains why that this world sustained by the mind is illusory. So, okay. Uh, I see. Is it Rob Myers is there? Do you have the book, sir?
Yes, sir. I think I got the right one.
Okay.
This is
You
what
got
I
the
got.
page 77?
Yes, sir.
You want to read the next two paragraphs?
Is this the correct one I'm holding up?
Ho
Is this
Rama.
correct? Is this correct book?
I can't see it. It is blurred.
Uh,
Uh, are you reading from the Yoga Vasishta book from Jyotirmanandiji?
no, this one says uh, Swami Venkat. I guess I got the wrong. I think I had the
Okay.
wrong book.
Okay. Okay. Then let us go to Veena Kandalwala is not here. Vijayji, are you here today? Okay. Vishwanathan? No. Okay. We'll go back to Akilamma.
Hariyam Raghuji. O
Hari.
Rama, for the wise who possess intuitive intellect, this world as well as the concepts of bondage and release are as illusory as the phenomenon of snake in rope. It is the mind afflicted by ignorance that pursues the relative realities of the world and sees its desires fulfilled. And since the mind is backed up by the infinite powers of Brahman, one can accomplish whatever one desires by by the one-pointed devotion of his mind. However, the achievements in this world are illusory compared to the perspective of attaining self-realization, wherein the mind ceases to exist as a separate entity. From Brahman, first there arose the mind, and then the visions of bondage and release. This was followed by the creation of the world process, which expresses itself in the form of numerous worlds. This entire creation is like the tale told by a nurse to a child for mere amusement. So Rama, Sage Vasishta explains to us, as if he's explaining it to Rama, that this mind is afflicted by ignorance. And so it looks at all these relative realities and things that, it desire with all the desires, and the mind is constantly looking for things and constantly having desires. But the mind is also backed up by the power of Brahman. And once we accomplish whatever desires we have, and we can accomplish whatever we want of this material world, if we had that single pointed focus, even though this world is full of Maya, we can still accomplish what we want. Now, this world is illusory, and so when the mind ceases to exist, separate from this world, from Brahman, and from this world, then at that point we get self-realization. Am I right, Raghuji?
Yeah. Put it the other way, with single pointed concentration, you can achieve anything. So
Yeah.
just like all the research done by various people, because of the single pointed mind in the subject that they are doing. Whether it's take music, the art, physics, science, mathematics, and all that, by single pointed concentration and contemplation, excluding all the other thoughts, one can achieve his goal. And the same mind, if you direct that single pointed towards Brahman, then you get that infinite knowledge of Brahman, that Aham Brahmasmi. So whatever that we achieve in this world are still in the relative world of duality. Only when you realize that Brahman, then you get that so-called the self-realization and know that all-pervading Chidakasha, the Brahman.
But Raghuji, here he says Vasishta talks as if it is 100% Purushartha and nothing else, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That is true in a sense, in the sense, if you look at Atman is in your own self, the Atman's, what do you call it, the blessing is always there. So if the BMI puts the effort, the Atman blesses. Is it? Okay. But only when you look at Atman as separate from you, as Ishvara, okay. Then you say, oh yeah, I'm putting all my effort and the blessing of the Ishvara that I get the result. So everything, for me, everything depends upon the point of view that you look at. Anybody want to add a comment or contradict what I'm saying?
Yeah, Raghuji, what I understand from these paragraphs is, to lack of proper terminology, every here is Brahman's imagination. Brahman imagine me, imagine Akila, imagine my kids, imagine you, imagine everybody. And Brahman let them play. Brahman say, let them play. Let's see if anybody can swim and reach the shore. So he gave us some freedom to our mind, little freedom, either to go back to Brahman or go forward in that Maya or the world, the field created by Brahman. So
Right.
try to swim and reach or not. It is up to us.
Right.
So that is why they keep saying the world is not real. It is in a way real and it is not real. In a way real because it all exists, but not real because everything is in Brahman's imagination. Right. From my mind, I can handle only few things, but Brahman can handle all the billions of people in the world, and he decides how they interact, how everything comes up. So basically, if we realize that, keep thinking about that, then there is no liberation, there is no thing, because everything is imagination. As long as we realize it is all Brahman's imagination, we are good.
Right. Yeah. So once you realize that you are that Brahman, then you are always Brahman. And actually, I was just imagining that I was bound. Then there's no liberation or bondage. So that Brahman alone is. And all these stories of creation, sustenance, and destruction are all we talk about as if the world is real. So, in the world of duality or relative reality, all this is real, but at this level of the absolute reality, they are illusory. So we have to make sure that clarity is there in our thought.
Don't the way I understand here is that the mind is backed up by the infinite powers of Brahman, and you have to have the one-pointed devotion of your mind towards him to get all these desires in the world, the achievements in the world. They're not saying you do it and you, because of your what you are trying to do, it is going to happen. But at the same time, there is a sentence saying one pointed devotion of your mind towards that Brahman, because it's all powered by Brahman.
Yeah, that one last comment, all powered by Brahman. If once you understand that, then you're there is the free will and all thing actually go
Yeah.
out of the window. That's the crux of it, right? And yesterday also we actually in the Swadhyasara Upanishad we also discussed about the same thing, right? Everything is Brahma. Everything is actually even the action, everything. I think Srinarayana Guru actually put it in such a way that what is that whatever is actually in the world is me. Whatever Srishta and Srishtikkulla Samagri. The Samagri of the Srishti, all are him only. So then, as I think yesterday we discussed about complete Samarpanam, right? So there you go.
If everything is Brahman, there's no Samarpanam.
No, because once you realizes that, then
Right.
you realizes that you are also Brahman, right?
Right.
That's what I meant.
Right. So when you do the Samarpanam of your ego, then you realize everything is nothing but me, the Brahman. So in response to Manoma, the way I understand is, since the mind is backed up by the infinite powers of the Brahman, one accomplishes whatever one desires by the one-pointed devotion of his mind. So devotion, he doesn't say devotion to God, devotion of his mind. And so when that my one-pointed devotion of the mind is towards the world, then he will accomplish whatever that is wants in the world, desires in the world. But if that one-pointed mind is desiring Brahman, then he will attain Brahman. That's the meaning in the second sentence. However, the achievements of this world are illusory compared to the perspective of attaining self-realization.
Pretty much that's what I was about to say it, and Sudhir said the same thing, that free will is not really talked about here. That's what I was going to say.
Okay. Very good. So we will continue on. And Ajanailu sir, you want to continue with the next the story? So
Yeah, sure,
let us continue
Raghuji.
to read the story. If anybody want to discuss, you can discuss. But the last paragraph gives what is the whole gist of this whole story.
Yes, Raghuji. Section 101. The world as a tale told to a child. Sri Rama asked, "O sage, I would like to listen to the tale told to a child and how this world is similar to the tale." Sri Vashishta said, "Once upon a time, a nurse told this beautiful tale to a child for his amusement. There once lived three princes who were very handsome. They were virtuous, valiant, and thoughtful, and lived in the city of Void. Two of them were never conceived, and the third was not even born. In the course of time, they lost their relatives due to the severe famine that befell their country, and so they set out in search of another country. They left the city of Void and moved onwards. Because their bodies were as tender as sirisha flowers, due to the intense heat of the sun, they became fatigued. Their feet were burned by the burning sands. In the course of their weary journey, they found three trees full of leaves, blossoms, and fruits. Of them, two were not yet sprouted, and the third was not even planted. They were tired, so they rested under the shady trees. They rested even as Indra, Yama, and Vayu would rest under the Parijata tree in heaven. Then they ate the nectarine fruits of the trees and again set out on their journey. When noon came,
Dr. Nuli, read the next.
Okay.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir.
When noon came, they saw three rivers surging with waves of transparent water. One of these rivers was completely dry, and the other two were devoid of water. They took a bath in the first river and felt very refreshed. When the evening hours came, they saw a city high up in the mountains. It was filled with lakes containing placid waters and lilies of diverse colors. They saw 3 places in the city which were studded with gems and precious stones. 2 of these places were not even constructed, and the third has no foundation. However, they entered the third palace and found 3 vessels of gold. 2 were broken to pieces, and the third was crumbled to dust. In the third vessel, those princes of excellent wisdom cooked rice. They had 99 plus 1 minus 100 grains.
Okay. Karpagam, you want to finish the page?
I still don't have the glasses. Maybe.
Oh, okay. Okay. Manonide, you want to read, Amma?
Okay.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay. When the rice was cooked, they invited 3 Brahmins, priests, to join the feast. Two of the Brahmins were devoid of bodies, and the third had no mouth. The latter one ate 100 grains of rice. The remaining was feasted upon by the 3 princes. Then they went out to hunt. And oh, child, they still exist in that strange city, and their life is full of delight. If you have heard this story, then do reflect upon it, and you will become wise. Sri Vashishta continued, O Rama, much like this story, this world exists only for the thoughtless, but to the wise, the world is a mere manifestation of the thoughts of the mind. With the effacement of the mind, all becomes false, and Brahman is discovered as the only reality. Just as the ocean manifests in waves, so does Brahman manifest in the multiple forms of the world.
Go and finish it, Amma.
O Rama, renounce the thoughts of the mind by meditating upon the self. The rest in your essential nature, which is supremely peaceful.
Read the next paragraph slowly.
Oh, you want me to read the other one too?
Yeah.
The 3 princes are the products of Maya, cosmic illusion. Ishvara, cosmic creator. Jiva, individual soul. And Manas, the mind. So the 3 princes are Ishvara, Jiva, and Manas. The world is the city of void. The 3 rivers are the 3 gunas of nature. Sattva, purity, Rajas, activity, and Tamas, inertia. The 3 trees are the 3 purposes of worldly existence. Dharma, ethical value, Artha, material value, and Karma, vital value. Kama, vital value. The 3 palaces are the 3 states of consciousness: sleep, dream, and waking. The 3 vessels are the 3 bodies: physical, astral, and causal. The enjoyments of the world are devoid of substance, like the illusory grains of rice. The 3 Brahmin guests are the 3 stages of life: childhood, youth, and old age. Thus, although this world process is woven by the fabric of illusion, yet the mind, being overpowered by Maya, continues to be entertained by the empty promises of this world. Just like the child who was amused by listening to the story told by a nurse.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Want to comment?
Well, it's actually the way Swami Jyotirmayananda explained is very clearly written in here. Again, I have to read the whole thing for you
Yeah.
to explain it to you. That's why I'm saying that, because he has talked about the story, and then he talked about how he compared to all these things of the three princes and the other ones, how the Ishvara, Jiva, and Manas, what he is talking about, and the three rivers are compared to the gunas, and the three trees are compared the purpose of the worldly existence, and then the three palaces are the three states of consciousness: sleep, dream, and waking, and three vessels again, the physical, astral, causal body, and the enjoyments of the world are devoid of substances like the illusory grains of rice, and the three Brahmin guests are the three stages of life, like the childhood, youth, and old age. And then, although this world process is woven by the fabric of illusion, yet the mind, being overpowered by Maya, continues to be entertained by the empty promise of this world, just like the child was amused by listening to the story told by the nurse.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like we all say, I want to conquer the world, and we don't realize at the end we don't take this world anywhere. As I was reading that, only when you conquer your own individual self, then you have conquered everything. But conquering the world, that you are just in the illusion that you are a conqueror. Because at the end, everything dissolves back into the earth. So called the Napoleon, Ravana, everybody at now they are part of the earth itself. So once you
Raghuji, I have little trouble to think about Ishvara is also Maya. I thought all this time he's a Saguna Brahman. Maya is under his control.
right, yeah, cosmic creator. You are right. Uh, but Ishvara is nothing but Brahman with Maya. Okay, and so you have to look at it as the Maya aspect, the total Maya aspect, and the total the Jiva and the mind. So, for me, the Jiva is the mind, and so, but here probably I have to look at it as the causal body is the Jiva, and the mind is the astral body. So, and the Ishvara is the total Maya. So.
Yeah, Raghuji, this para indicates all about non-atma aspect, non-Brahman aspect.
Right.
So in the Vedanta Sara, we try to know the definition of Atma Kaha. So Sula Sura Stula Sukshma Sharira Vetirikta, three Vetirikta,
Right.
Avastha Se Trakshi, so Panchakosha Tisha. So then Sat Chitananda Lakshana,
Right.
Sarupa. So
Right.
all three are pertaining to the non-atmic nature.
Right.
That's what described here. Yeah.
Right. So,
Raghuji, I like to read from Chinmaya Lahari here.
Yeah, go ahead, Amma.
It says, uh, individuality and its perceptions of a pluralistic world of things and beings slide away. That is at the time of moksha. And the individual fully undressed of its BMI becomes identical with the self. Okay. Now the thing. Perceiver of the world dies. Therefore, at this final state, there is no world for you to negate. Since the world is not there, God, the total mind, has no function. The individuality, Jiva, the mind perceived Jagat, and God, the creator, sustainer, destroyer, power, Ishvara, have no chair to sit and protect. All three, Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara, merge into the supreme state.
Good.
That's what they say, that once you transcended to that state, there's nothing there for you.
Correct.
Only the Brahman, only the self. That's it.
Right. Yeah.
Can you put that para on the or send it to us, Amma?
Yeah, I will do that. I'll do that.
Thanks.
Really, I just want to comment on that third paragraph of that 79, right? Especially about the body and the mind. See, they were virtuous, valiant, thoughtful, and lived in the city of void. Two of them were never conceived. That means the Jiva was not even conceived, and third was not even born. That third is actually here, it was actually mentioning it as mind, right? So it is all, is it because of the illusory nature, right? Is what we should be taking it up?
Right. So it's all imagined. So all the stories that the grandmothers tell the grandchildren are like that, right? Once upon a time, there was a prince and a princess. Then they ever lived ever after like that. And so everything is nothing but that illusory story. And so it's beautiful, very nice. So that's the thing. That last paragraph, if you read the original book, you won't get it. So then you'll keep wondering, what is this cock and bull story? And so that a realized master who is well versed in the scriptures and Gnana Yoga is the one that who can give us this kind of a beautiful interpretation. So, okay. So we will continue. And Maya Yadav, you want to continue, Amma?
Hari Om. Section 102. The immutability of the self. Sri Vashishta said, O Rama, just as a child imagines a ghost in the stump of a tree, in the same way, ignorant men imagine a perishable ego self in the supreme self and remain caught in the mire of illusion. Sri Rama asked, O says, what is the perishable ego self which experiences the suffering of the world? Whence has it come? Whose imaginations has given rise to this fictitious entity? How can the eternal self give rise to the imagination of the fictitious not self? Sri Vashishta replied, O Rama, the self seen through the veil of ignorance, tinged by the impressions of individuality or jivahood, falsely imagines that existence of the illusory not self. All living beings are the one self caught in the imaginations of the mind. Yes. So in this paragraph, when Vashishta is telling him that everything is illusory, just like the child, imagines the ghost in the tree. In same way, the all perishable ego self imagines and always caught in illusion. Then Rama asks, what is the self ego or self ego self? Sorry. So then and where it comes from, and he asks how is the where is rises, and then the Vashishta replied that veil of ignorance and jivahood falsely imagines all these existence of illusories.
Yeah. So it's hard for us to imagine that it is the self superimposed by ignorance is the cause for the experiences of the sufferings in this world. So that's the answer to Rama's question. Lead to that individuality. That Supreme Brahman with the power of Maya is called Ishvara. The Supreme Brahman under the cover of Maya or ignorance is the little Jiva. And it's the Jiva that is experiencing all this duality and multiplicity and happiness and suffering. So for me, it's like a story given to you. Hey, you are not the Jiva. That's what you think you are. You are the Brahman. Continue to contemplate on it, help me wake up to the state of Brahman. Okay, after Mayama, Nag, you want to read, sir?
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om.
When one understands that oneself alone exists, then the egoistic vision disappears, for ego cannot exist in the non-dual self. Its appearance is much like a mirage in a desert or a ghost imagined by a child. Therefore, O Rama, renounce the erroneous vision that is tinged by the ghost of the ego self and adopt the true vision that discovers Brahman as the reality behind all that exists. Taking recourse to spiritual inquiry, you will be able to save your intellect from the dashing waves of illusion. When your intellect is then purified, it will not sustain the thoughts of the world. This is how you will attain freedom from the ghost of the ego self. In reality, you are never bound. You are essentially the self. How can the self be brought into a state of bondage, and by whom? Knowing this, why do you live in vain, O Rama?
Comment?
So basically the first line says it all, that one self alone exists, meaning everybody else existing is just an imagination of the self. So even though we are interacting, we are doing so many things, we are not actually there. It is all in the mind of Brahman. So all our spiritual sadhana is going towards to understand that I don't really exist except in the Brahman's imagination. Once we realize that, then we are home free. And at the same time, I have to realize everybody is existing here as an imagination. That is why I should not be jealous or angry with others, because we all don't exist. We are all somebody's imagination. So why I get angry with somebody who is also like me, a character in somebody's imagination?
Right. Yeah. So there are various ways of not having this so-called jealousy and ego sense and all that. One is withdrawing oneself from all the desires and continue to contemplate on Bhagavan. Another one is, as a karma yogi, continue to live in this world with this knowledge that I am this Brahman, all this world is illusory. But as a Gruhastha or a Brahmachari or a Vanapraste, whatever the position that I am in, let me continue as a BMI, continue to do my duties to the society, not expecting any results. But with a constant vision, I am that Brahman. So that is real karma sannyasa. So how you do it? Depending on your circumstances and your surroundings and your own vasanas, whether you withdraw completely like a brahmachari or a sannyasi and contemplate, or remain in samsara as a karma yogi and continue to have satsangs, meditation, karma yoga, pujas, japa, everything you keep doing with basic knowledge that I am that Brahman. That your goal is towards that direction.
That second paragraph is that taking recourse to spiritual inquiry, then you will get intellect is then purified, then it will not sustain the thoughts of the world, thus you get freedom, right?
Right, yeah. What is the purity of the mind? Yes, going beyond the likes and dislikes, having Shama, Dama, Uparama, Titiksha, and that, what do you call the
Shraddha, Samadhana.
Samadhana, yeah. So the Samadhana is nothing but that the Samabuddhi, that quietness of the mind. You will achieve that only when you have Shama, Dama, and Uparama. Very good. And next is, did Nag read right now, right?
Yes.
Nag
Yes,
read. And Rakesh Kumar next.
Hari Om. As long as the self is not realized, so long one must continue to experience the sufferings of the body and mind. Even if the body is pierced, cut down, slain, disfigured, or destroyed, he who has attained self realization does not suffer from pain. Just as when the bellows of a blacksmith are stopped, the all pervasive air is not affected, so too, when the body is destroyed, the self remains unaffected, whether the flowers wither or perish. How can their all pervasive fragrance be affected? Let the lotus of the body be affected by the frost of pleasure and pain, but how can the black bee of the spirit that soars in the sky be afflicted thereby? Let this body fall or stand. You essential nature is ever untouched thereby. Talking about the self, and because as long as we are not realized, we still think we are body and we are attached to all this. Because once you realize you are not this, you are Brahman, pure. And what is happening in the body, you, because you are connected, you think you are that, and that's reason. And once we do all this meditation, japa, listening, contemplating, you go beyond that. And once you go beyond that, then you don't feel anything because you are not the you are the self. And as long as you are Atman, you are okay. When you are not Atman, then you have all these afflictions with you and you think about it, what it is going on. So the main reason they say you have to go ahead and realize and get above. And that's the only way you can get rid of all these sufferings and be in the self.
Yeah. So constant contemplation and living in that state of mind. That practice of that is what is necessary. That's what Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. Practice, practice, practice. Not everybody gets realized just by Shravanam, because their mind is not that purified, and so one has to continue to practice. So, okay, Ratnamma, want to continue, Amma?
O Rama, this world is of the nature of mind, and mind is caused by the beginningless, illusory power of Maya. The self, which is the substratum and controller of Maya, is even greater than the mind. And since the mind is not destroyed by the destruction of the body, then how can the self be destroyed? The mental body of a person continues to project the world of time and space and enters into it, wearing different bodies, changing its bodily garbs through the process of repeated deaths. Let this mental body be destroyed by spiritual knowledge. O Rama, death is nothing but a change in the pattern of time and space. One is separated from a particular time-space order and is led to another time-space projection. He is separated from a set of realities that depended upon a particular ego center and is united with another set of realities through an altered ego center.
Want to comment?
This like mind is the one that is the imagines all this world, which, even though it is from Brahman, is it? Dr. Raghu? Mind is the cause of the bondage, mind is the liberation of everything, liberation. But self is the only one, is the reality of this cosmos.
Yeah. So it is the self, then the Maya, and then this mind. The Maya is the what you can call it as the cause of the total mind, and then the individual mind. And even the mind is beyond the body. When the body dies, when I die, the mind doesn't die. The mind takes up another body. That's what is said in the second paragraph. Changing the bodies. And as long as the mind is there, the mind continues to take body after body. What is that mind? Is nothing but the collection of all the vasanas of the past lives. And so, only when you purify that mind of all the vasanas, then there is no more mind. That mind gets absorbed into the total, realizes its real nature. Beautiful. Sarvesh, you want to continue, sir?
Raghuji, and that regarding the reincarnation, say the rebirth part, right? That is very, I know. That's a very, again, a good explanation, right? One is separated from a particular time space order and is led to another time space projection. Is separated from a set of realities that depend upon a particular ego center and is united with another set of realities.
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah. There's so much evidence to that. Of course, the scriptures completely support that thing about the continuation of this jiva. The jiva is not just the body. Okay. Who is next?
Hari Om.
Sarvesh.
Through death, a person becomes detached from his family, friends, near and dear relatives, and the realities of his life, and becomes attached to another family, discovers different relationships, and enters into a different set of realities. Death is merely a change in the scene, the drama of life. The self is never destroyed. Just as a bird, after hatching out of an egg, flies into the sky in the same way, O Rama, break the eggshell of illusion, remove the confines of the egoistic vision, and once you discover the wings of wisdom and bliss, soar into the infinite sky of freedom. When seen through a veil of mist, the vast sky is imagined to be cloudy and tainted. Much in the same way, this boundless and glorious Atman, when seen through the mist of mental vasanas, is interpreted as a wandering soul dependent upon the perishable objects of the world.
Right. Comment?
Yes. With all the changes in each stage of our life, there comes the death and a rebirth, and we pass through birth after birth until we realize the truth, the immortal self, until we burn away our karmas in the fire of spiritual knowledge. I just got a quote from Gita there, and that's what I was referring to the gist of these two paragraphs. And this is a beautiful example he gives here that when the bird hatches out of the egg and flies out into the sky, that is how the spirit should evolve out of this egotistic vision.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the same way the story of what do you call the larva becoming the cocoon, and then the cocoon breaks loose, and a beautiful butterfly flies away, which is nothing but that liberated jiva. So, and so we say, oh, today the sky is cloudy. Okay, sky is not cloudy. The sky is always the same, but it is the clouds or the mist or rain that is there in the sky, but sky always remains the same. Same way, the Atman glory is never affected by this illusory Maya.
I
Very
just wanted to read from the Gita. This says, Dehinosmin yada dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tada deha antaram prapti dhiras tatrana yati
right. Right.
muchate.
Yeah.
This is how every body passes through the three stages and birth after birth until the total realization is attained. It's a very famous Gita's.
Right. Second chapter. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Realize that you are the Atman. You are not even the Jiva taking body after body. That's why in Vivek Chodamani, he says the ignorant man thinks he is the body. Some intelligent man thinks that, oh no, I am the Jiva, not the body, going through birth and death. But the wise man knows that he is the pure Atman. Okay. Now, Sarvesh ji is done, and Shobhanam.
When seen through a veil of mist, the vast sky is imagined to be cloudy and tainted. Much in the same way, this boundless and glorious Atman, when seen through the mist of mental vasanas, subtle desires, is and interpreted as a wandering soul dependent upon perishable objects of the world. Just as morning lets the fierce ray of the sun dissolve in its mist, so too let the luminous wisdom of the self dissolve in the mist of vasanas. By the shining rays of vichar, spiritual inquiry, allow the icy rocks of illusion to melt away from your view. I think in these two paragraphs, similar to the earlier example of the bird hatching out of the egg, here is an example of the veil of mist in the sky, and how it makes the illusion of being cloudy and tainted. And once these our subtle desires are exhausted, we are able to go past the perishable objects of the world. Yeah. Then the next example is how the rays of the sun dissolve the mist, and that's where it says through spiritual inquiry you can allow the the rocks of illusion to melt away from your view. So another two examples to continue on the same thought.
Yeah, beautiful, very nice, very good. Sudhirji, you want to complete that page?
Yes. Colored by the spiritual impressions, your mind will delight in playing the dramatic act of its own destruction. Because when the mind turns to the self, it has chosen the path of its self-destruction. You should not look for methods of destroying the mind. Your very mind that is overpowered by the light of discriminative knowledge will automatically develop the samkalpa, strong resolve, for its own destruction. Just as though the ignorant mind you are led to numerous illusions of the world, so too through your own illumined mind you will be led to the lofty states of spiritual attainment. allowing the mind to be negated by the transcendental vision of the self. O Rama, destruction of the mind is the highest goal of self effort, leading to the cessation of all miseries. In this dark forest of the world process, the mind, this is devoid of viveka, discriminative insight, abounds with the thorny bushes of pleasures and pain, and is entwined by the poisonous snakes of perishability and death. Through it, your spirit is led to untold suffering.
Go ahead and read the next paragraph.
All beings are afflicted by miseries arising from their unenlightened minds. Therefore, O Rama, overcome the world by dissolving the mist of the mind through the radiant rays of spiritual inquiry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is just saying that by spiritual impression, your mind will will say that automatically you lose your ego and you will really see the real truth. That way, you are actually kind of this self-destruction of your own mind, and you realize when you realize the real truth. And also Samji says that you should not be what you're trying to overpower it. Okay, it should be by discriminating knowledge, it automatically develop a strong resolve for its own destruction. It is not that we are actually, we always, I think you always preach us, don't try to hold it, let it develop its own passion, right?
Yeah.
Then also they say that our highest effort the destruction of the mind is the highest goal for anyone. Okay, but that will lead to lead away from the miseries and the dark for miseries of the world process.
Right.
And so finally he says that Rama overcome the world, you know, um, overcome the world by dissolving the mind by spiritual inquiry.
Right. Yeah. उद्धरेदात्मनात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत् आत्मैव आत्मनो बन्धुः आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः. So by spiritual inquiry, that you go beyond the what you call sankalpa vikalpatmika buddhi, the mana, and become that pure intellect which is enlightened by that knowledge of the Atman. That is real viveka. And so we can look at the other way. Instead of saying the mind is destroyed, the mind has expanded to realize that I am that Atman. So, as an individual mind, it is completely destroyed. So, of course, that as a Jivan Mukta, the mind is still there, but it is a sublated mind. It has overcome all the attachments to the world, and it's just like Atman, Atmaiva Atmano Bandhu, Atma Vipuratmanaha. That Atma, that mind, has become the friend of the enlightened Jiva. And so, whatever it does is just loving the world, loving everybody in this world. So, why? Because it realizes I alone am, there's nothing other than me. So, because we have to continue to do our sadhana, we have to continue to do our contemplation 24/7. That is the real meditation. Okay, so we'll continue with section 103. The evils created by the unenlightened mind. So now we saw how the enlightenment is attained. Now, why our mind continues to be entangled in this world is being discussed. And who is supposed to do? Uma Shankar, you want to read, Amma?
Yeah. The evils created by the unenlightened mind. She Vasishta continued, like a mighty wave arising from this ocean, the chitta mental process has arisen from Brahman, the absolute, and having thus come into existence. This chitta has extended itself into this vast illusory world process. Mind is capable of converting a small object into a gigantic one, or a gigantic object into a small one. And such is the power of mind that even problems of mountains proportions are rendered insignificant, and problems that are totally insignificant are converted into gigantic forms. Sustained by the infinite power of the self, this mind can create the entire world as well as many other such world systems in the twinkling of an eye. And likewise, it can withdraw all its creations. Individual mind, freed of its complexes and egoistic illusions, communes with the cosmic mind, which in turn is capable of projecting the entire universe within the twinkling of an eye.
Comment?
Actually, for me, still, even after so many classes, for me, like a Brahman and I'm not the Jiva and all, it's for me, it still doesn't go into my mind at all.
Don't give up. Continue to study, continue to contemplate, and continue to be detached from the attachments to the family and all that. And
It's still confusing for me, everything confusing.
what is new?
Yeah.
Everything is confusing. So as long as you're not attached to the things, oh, I want this, I want this, I love this world. Okay, this confusion is a good beginning. So the only thing is that self with all its power, okay, can take up little individual body and say, oh, I am this little jiva. And that the
But,
same jiva, okay, can overcome that ignorance and realize that it is that pure, all-pervading chit. So,
yeah, like we say it's all illusory, and
right.
then again we say it's all done by Brahman.
In this sense, without that pure existence, consciousness, bliss, nothing can happen. Okay, in a way it is cause, in a way it is just a witness. Without that consciousness, the inert Maya cannot function. And so, but at the same time, Brahman by himself without Maya can do nothing. It's just a pure consciousness. So, whenever all these things are said confusing, then you have to see it from what point of view that author is talking, that sentence is being formed. So, from that what angle that the person is looking at. Yeah, like the if I am a sinner, okay, that sin doesn't belong to the Atman. Just in the presence of Atman, my sinful BMI is doing all the actions. So, do I blame the Atman for it just because the Atman is there? So, it's just like saying that, oh, because of the sunlight I was able to see, so I robbed. Okay. Okay. If it was dark, I wouldn't have done it. Okay. Okay. At the same time, the sunlight is there, other person is waking up, has woken up and doing all his duties and serving the world. So, what we do with that pure sunlight is up to us, whether it's sattvic, rajasic, or tamasic kind of personality. So,
Thanks, Andy.
Veenama not here, Vijay not here, Vishwanathan not here today, and Akilama.
The senses of perception, as well as the organs of action, are projected out of the mind as its instruments. Then, having projected them for the fulfillment of its restless desires, the mind operates through them, thereby sustaining the illusions of the world process. Even as a child plays with toys or builds castles of sand by the seashore, in the same way, the mind creates the various worlds for its amusement. Then, how can the body, which is nothing but a doll created by the mind, be the self? The powers of the mind are seen in dreams as well as in fanciful visions. One experiences a long duration of time during a dream of a few minutes. The mind is capable of extending a moment into a kalpa, a long duration of time, consisting of thousands of years, and a kalpa into a moment. Likewise, mind is capable of converting a vast stretch of space into a small space equal to a pit made by a cow's hoof, or it can convert such a very small space into a vast distance extending over thousands of miles. Raghuji, this last paragraph reminded me of the Leela story, where just in the mind, they went into so many different worlds and they saw everything. It was just all in the mind. So how much the mind is capable of doing is amazing. And they went beyond time too. And they came back. So time and space is all in the mind.
Yeah. So that's the reason you are beautifully said that's what I wanted to bring it up. You yourself brought it up, that Leela's story is a beautiful example of how the time is just a projection of our mind. All our attachments and everything is just but projections of the mind. But when you get purified, that you are capable of seeing the illusoriness of the whole world process. So, you're right. So it's just like the child playing with the toys or in a beach, creating a beautiful big castles and imagining and amusing itself. So as long as you know that you are just entertaining yourself, but everything is nothing but just for fun, then you are okay. But when you can attach it to it, like when an adult comes or some other child comes and kicks the castle, and the child is so much attached to its own creation, it starts crying and get mad. Okay, well, but if it itself jumps on the castle and destroys it, then it is just an amusement. Why? Because it knows, hey, she was doing it for fun, and even this destruction is fun. I'm different from this castle. Same way, I'm different from this world. This world is illusory. And so that's the reason when you read the, what do you call, the YouTube about the people remembering their past lives, it'd be interesting. One person's remembrance is that that previous husband in the previous life is still living. And in another story, you say that little boy is remembering that oh, like he was the captain of that famous ship 100 years ago.
Titanic.
Titanic. Okay. So what happened in 100 years? Okay, we don't know. Okay. So everything is very relative. So okay, who is next? Anjaneyulu, you want to finish that page, sir?
Yeah, sure, Raghuji. Due to increase of rajas and tamas, the mind loses the awareness of its boundless powers and resigns itself to a world of dependence and bondage. Just as leaves, flowers, and fruit arise from a tree, in the same way the unenlightened mind gives rise to illusions, infatuation, time, space, repeated embodiments, and manifold experiences of pleasure and pain. It is the chitta that manifests itself in the triads of actor, action, and instrument of action, and the seer, seen, and sight. It is chitta again that appears in the triple role of enjoyer, objects of enjoyment, and enjoyment. Those who are endowed with spiritual insight behold this world as an extension of the mind. Just as numerous ornaments of gold are nothing but gold, so too the numerous realities of this world are nothing but illusory forms projected by the mind. Since the realities behind the mind is the self, a sage perceives the non-dual self as the only reality. So beautifully, the role of mind is given in the 3 paragraphs. Amrita Bindu Upanishad says, Manaya Manishyanam Karnam Bandhamokshaya. So the mind is as a dual role. One is it has bondage, the other is the realization or the self-realization. So here the sage uses for the realization, sees only as a reality, whereas due to avidya or common man sees as the, everything as is what he sees, what he believes. So Dugdusha Vivek also emphasizes what we see is what what is not. The only reality is the self. That's what which is eternal, uh, which is as per our Sanatana Dharma, that is the only reality, and all other things are temporary and avidya. So we have to overcome this avidya to know the self and what is reality.
Very good. Very good. So you have to remember this constantly and live in a detached life. Detached life doesn't mean we don't love our wife and children and relatives, but we love them all. We love all of them equally, and we continue to show, but without any attachment. So that's we have to remember that love doesn't mean attachment, and detachment doesn't mean hate. So it's a beautiful story. So we covered up to the chapter.
In the practical, Raghuji, on the practical world, unless until you know, at least you go through this at least sometime, that last one, right? Love is not attachment, and hate is not hate. Common man, it is very difficult to understand that particular part.
Yeah. Yeah. What all you do is, if you dislike something, you dislike what the person did. It doesn't mean you dislike the person. Okay. The hate is like an extreme response to something what somebody did. And that is something that we have to continue. It doesn't mean that we have to accept everything the other person did. If the person has done something illegal, immoral, you definitely disagree with that person. And if you want to correct that person, if you're capable, you do it, but you don't hate the person. Because you hating that person is like hating the Atman. That's one thing we have to continue to remember.
As Gurudev says, hate the sinner. I mean, hate the sin, not the sinner.
Sinner, correct. That is the benefit of satsang. People will come up with those little quotations, and that's nice. That's sharing the good things. So,
Guruji, can I
say something what I'm getting from all this.
Of
Thanks
course,
to you.
Maya.
Thanks to you getting that you negate that, yeah, this body is not you. Your mind is not you. And jiva is not you. It's the same thing that we say in the neti, neti, neti. You are not this, you are not this, you are not this.
Right.
So if you keep on continue there, maybe we can reach someday somewhere, right?
Of course. That's even if you don't reach this life, you'll definitely reach next life, because you have climbed the spiritual steps, and you will continue to grow because you are not the body. And but the goal is to realize it in this life itself. So we should make a sincere effort to continue to do the sadhana 24/7. So Bhagavan has given us all the opportunities, has given us a comfortable life. Don't have to worry about the finances. Though I have to go and work tomorrow morning, because otherwise I won't have any food to eat. I don't have any shelter. I have to pay the rent and all that. And so we should look at all the positive things that we have and continue to do the sadhana to reach that goal in this life itself.
Yeah, Tadastu Devatal are blessing us, Raghuji. We will achieve it. Yeah.
Say it again.
Tadastu. Gods are saying Tadastu.
Very nice. Very good.
One more quote from Gurudev. He says, on the spiritual path, there may be ups and downs, but never a fall.
Yeah. 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 Right. So just like a stock market, there's ups and downs, but it continues to grow. And so how you want to grow, that is up to you.
Also, Swamiji, Puja Gurudev said that if you didn't fall, you never got up.
Yeah, right.
So you probably have to go up to fall.
Yeah. Very nice.
But at the same time, if you look at the Bhagavad Gita, there are the falling from the spiritual ladder. Bhagavan talks about that. He's not saying fall and stay there, but there are the ladder is there, and there is a possibility you're going to fall, but you have to get up and keep going again.
Yeah. That ladder of fall is given to show where the problems are, and not to get entangled in those worldly desires and desire, anger, and all those things. So that so-called the Shadripus, Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Mada, Matsarya, if we have overcome, then we have realized it. So. ॐ सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् ॐ पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो
नमः.
हरिः ॐ.
Hari Om, everybody.
Hari Om, Hari Om.
Hari Om, Hari Om, everybody.
Who is doing the summary?
Yeah.
I can do the summary.
Who?
Shobana. This is Shobana.
You are doing the other one, right? No.
No.
Sudhir is doing the Monday class. Okay, very good.
I can do this.
Okay, good. Rob, do you know which book to buy?
I thought I had it right, but I think somebody
Are you in the Pathas of Atlanta?
Yes, I live in Milton.
In the Pathas of Atlanta, I think I posted the website where you can buy the books if you are interested.
Okay.
I think Rob is in our chat group, right, Rob?
Which one?
You are in our chat group, right?
WhatsApp, yes. Pathas of Atlanta, WhatsApp.
Yeah, he said yes. He is.
I can hear you.
I think he is there. I know.
Yeah.
He is there.
Yes.
Raghuji, do we got in our library, in our
bookstore? We had one set, Whether he's still there or not, I'm not 100% sure. Rob, do you live in Atlanta?
Yes, I live in Alpharetta.
Okay. Then what I'm going to do is, when I go Thursday, I'm going to look at it and I'll let you know. If you want to drop in and pick up the 2 books on Sunday, you are welcome to do it.
Okay, I'll do that. I appreciate it.
Okay, sir. Okay. Hari Om.
Hari
Om.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Mandi.
Hari Om.